So today is Monday, September 11th, 2023. Ceci est la réunion mensuelle du conseil municipal de la ville de Côte Saint-Luc pour le 11 septembre 2023. I have with me here today Councillor Leo Azarad, Councillor Andy Schuster, Councillor Owen Sabag, Councillor Dita Burku, Councillor Stephen Early, Councillor Sidney Ben-Isri, Councillor Mike Cohen, the City Manager, Jonathan Schechter. We have our City Clerk, Florine Abughai, and Pascal Tanguy, our Director of Legal Services. And we also have our Director of Communications, Darryl Levine. I got everybody that's out here today from staff and council that are sitting on the podium. Okay, now we're going to do the territorial acknowledgement. We have our territorial acknowledgement at each council meeting.
Justice, devoir du souvenir, liberté culturelle et inclusion sont des valeurs chères à la ville de Côte Saint-Luc. Nombre de nos résidents et leurs descendants ont construit leur vie ici, après avoir fui des situations difficiles ailleurs. Le Canada a été leur refuge. Mais pour les peuples et les communautés autochtones, les politiques gouvernementales au Canada ont créé des injustices. L'île de Montréal, où nous sommes réunis aujourd'hui, porte un nom beaucoup plus ancien, Chauchagay. C'était un lieu de rassemblement historique pour de nombreuses communautés autochtones. C'était aussi un lieu de diplomatie où a notamment été signé le traité de la Grande Paix de Montréal. Nous remercions la nation Ganyugeaga, également connue sous le nom de nation Mohawk, pour son hospitalité sur un territoire non cédé. Nous devons reconnaître le passé, afin d'avancer avec un esprit de collaboration et de réconciliation. Justice, remembrance, cultural freedom, and inclusion are important values to the city of Côte Saint-Luc. Many residents and their descendants have made their lives here, having fled dire conditions elsewhere. Canada was their refuge. But for Indigenous peoples and communities, government policies in Canada created injustice. The island of Montreal, where we are meeting today, has a much older name, Chauchagay. It was a historic gathering place for many Indigenous communities. It was also the site of diplomacy, including the Great Peace of Montreal. We thank the Ganyugeaga Nation, also known as the Mohawk Nation, for their hospitality on unceded territory. We must acknowledge the past so that we can move forward in a spirit of collaboration and reconciliation.
Okay, thank you. Je veux aussi dire des mots importants. Il y avait un tremblement de terre à frapper le Maroc vendredi. Le nombre de morts s'élève à près de 2700. C'est une terrible tragédie. De nombreux résidents de Côte-Saint-Luc ont des liens avec le Maroc. Pour ceux qui ont de la famille au Maroc, nous espérons et prions pour qu'ils soient sains et saufs. For those who want to help the people of Morocco, one of the best ways is to donate money to the Canadian Red Cross. Visit redcross.ca and you'll find the Morocco Earthquake Appeal where you can make a donation. I also want to say a few words about another tragedy. This is the 22nd anniversary of the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001. Nearly 3,000 people on that day died. At least 24 of those were Canadians. Depuis, je suis allé au New York à nombreuses reprises et je me rends souvent au mémorial. C'est tellement triste de lire les noms de ceux qui ont perdu la vie. Chacun d'entre eux avait une signification particulière pour sa famille et ses amis. September 11th also brought out the best in people. You may know the story of the people of Gander, Newfoundland. When North American airspace was closed, planes traveling from across the Atlantic Ocean were forced to land in Gander. Nearly 6,600 airplane travelers had arrived in a city of about 10,000 people, but the people of Gander gave them food and shelter. They opened their homes and stores and did whatever possible. September 11th reminded us that we need to avoid complacency. We need to constantly reassess the threats to our security. We need to take it seriously at all levels. Je vous demande de respecter un moment de silence pour les victimes de tremblements de terre au Maroc et pour les victimes des attentats terroristes de 11 septembre. So while we're on the issue of security, a week ago on Saturday, there was a break-in at my home. So our house was vandalized, having not been robbed ever in Côte Saint-Luc in our home. So we were complacent and never thought that would necessarily happen. So we had an old alarm. We did have an alarm system, but it was an old one that was connected by phone, by telephone lines, not cell phones. But robbers today are very smart. So I'm just going to tell you what I've learned, because I learned a lot about what we can do to protect our own homes. And we should do so. So they found the wire outside, they cut it, they came into the house, they pulled off the alarm system from the wall and the sound system that would make noise. They did the same thing right away in the basement, and also found the router to cut in case there was any internet connection. And then they did their thing. So what I did learn is that there are things that you can do. If you don't have an alarm system, one of the easiest things that everybody should do when they go out is put their TV on near a window where the blinds aren't too thick, so that there's a light going on and some noise and people might think that you're home. Pick a station that has the news, so it sounds like there's a lot of talking going on. Have an alarm system, have it updated, have it connected by cell, so that it can't be cut. Other things that you can do for sure to improve the security in your house is pour lights up around the house, because they're always going to pick the house that's the easiest to get in. Have lights on around your house. Cameras are good. There's cheap ones now, like the Ring doorbell. They also sell cameras. So you can have cameras around your house and keep your house well lit. I think those were the main ones. Oh, there's another thing that I found out. Oh, they bashed in the glass. So when I spoke to a lot of security people since we got robbed. So they have this thing called film that you can have your windows, at least the ones that are most likely to be broken into, that could be put onto the window. That makes it very hard, a lot harder. Instead of getting in a minute, it could take them like 10 minutes to break through that glass. You heard of this film? So you can get film. That's one of the cheapest things they say that you can do, is get the film put on the windows that you think they might use to break into your home. So those are all just some tips that you can do to improve security in your home and avoid break-ins. But, you know, it happens. They're going to get in somewhere, but let it be somebody else's home and not yours. Take some moves, take the necessary precautions to make sure it's somebody else's house and not yours. We're doing that now after the fact, but what can you do? Hopefully they won't come back. So that was that. So now we're going to move to something more fun, which is the awards for the golf tournament. And I'm going to pass that on, I think, to Councillor Cohen to lead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to ask Councillors Azarad and Burku to join Manny Young in front of the podium, please. Nisa will come and she will give them the trophy. So Councillor Burku, Councillor Azarad, and Honorary Councillor Young. It's crazy. Just right there below the stage. So Anissa will. Stay where you are. So the 2023 Golf Classic was a great success this year. Even with the challenge of holding the luncheon indoors due to inclement weather and playing at Meadowbrook the following week, we raised over $5,000 thanks to the generosity of our sponsors. This is for the Côte Saint-Luc Parks and Recreation Bursary Fund, which helps families in need in our community who might not otherwise be able to afford to register for our programs, buy certain equipment, and so on and so forth. We want to thank Philip Aman and the Asante Wealth Management Group, Brian Young and Reeboks, Delmar, and of course, the Côte Saint-Luc Senior Men's Club. The luncheon was held on August 8th in the Greenspun Auditorium, where we celebrated the good works of Joanne Cutler and Merv Midling with a luncheon and cake. The following week on August 15th, which was our rain date, we had 50 golfers, which is terrific given the fact that a number were booked and couldn't make it for the rain date. They joined us on the beautiful back nine of the Meadowbrook Golf Club, and everyone enjoyed a bright, sunny, perfect morning of golf. So on behalf of myself and my co-chairs, Deputy Mayor Dita Burku, Councillor Leo Azarat, and Manny Young, we are now pleased to present the trophies. And I want to tell you that our committee starts meeting in February via Zoom, with Manny making us jealous of the fact he can go out and take the sun in Florida. But we have a terrific group, and we work really hard. I want to thank Anissa and Ryan specifically for all the hard work they did. And I want to tell you, the day of golf was just picturesque. It was fantastic, and it just got me all excited for next year. So I'd like to call up first Patricia Heller and Michael Berman, who both won in their category for the closest to the pin. Come on up, please.
How close? Close.
All right, Daryl will assemble you.
Should I go in on the pictures?
Okay, thank you. I'd like Pat to stay up there. Pat, don't go back to your seat yet. You're too good to go back to your seat. I'm not. You know me. You can go if you want. It's my great pleasure to present Pat. And in the absence of Councillor Kajavsky, Mayor Brownstein will accept on his behalf with the trophies for the longest drive. And Councillor Kajavsky is in Portugal, so he had a very long drive to his vacation. So please, there you go. Thank you. Okay, I want to thank everyone for participating. And we know that we'll be back next year. This was the first year in over 40 years that we had to rain out the first day of golf. But we're going to make sure that that doesn't happen next year. And one last thing about Meadowbrook, for those of you who've never been there, you just have to golf one day and see why we're putting so much effort to save that beautiful green space. Thank you.
Very nice. Good job. Okay. So now we're going to go to question period, and we're going to ask the city clerk to read the rules. Si vous pouvez expliquer les règles pour. Daryl has it all organized for me now. That's very organized. He has a whole list. So, si vous n'êtes pas prêt aujourd'hui de le faire, je peux le faire pour vous. Mais les règles. Let's see, question period of the agenda.
Donc, les règles de la période de questions. Le conseil municipal de Côte Saint-Luc.
Sure, we have to drop the agenda. 1 second. So I'd like to move the adoption of the agenda. All in favor? Now it's passed and you can read the rules. Thank you. Merci.
Donc, le conseil municipal de Côte Saint-Luc permet aux résidents ainsi qu'aux non-résidents de poser des questions lors des séances du conseil en français et en anglais. Toute personne souhaitant poser une question doit, au début de la séance du conseil, remplir un formulaire pour la période de questions. Ce formulaire se retrouve à l'entrée de la salle du conseil. La période de conseil de la séance du conseil est limitée à 30 minutes, mais peut être prolongée sous réserve du consentement de la majorité des membres présents du conseil. En raison de cette limite de temps, et puisque nous souhaitons permettre au plus grand nombre de personnes possible à poser des questions, toute personne a 3 minutes pour poser une question, ainsi qu'une question complémentaire au maire. Avant de poser une question, toute personne doit déclarer son nom et prénom. Suite à la discussion de tous les points à l'ordre du jour de la séance du conseil, il y a une deuxième période de questions. Pendant la deuxième période de questions, Les questions doivent seulement concerner les points à l'ordre du jour de la séance du conseil. Nul ne peut utiliser un langage offensant, irrespectueux ou violent en s'adressant au maire. Lors
No.
The City of Côte Saint-Luc Council allows residents and non-residents to ask questions at its council meetings in French and English. Every person wishing to ask a question must, at the beginning of the council meeting, fill out a question period form which can be found at the entrance of the council chamber. The question period at a council meeting is limited to 30 minutes, but may be extended subject to the consent of a majority of the members of council. Given this time limit and given the desire to allow as many questioners as possible to ask questions, every person has 3 minutes to ask one question and one follow-up question to the mayor. Prior to asking a question, every person must state her or his full name. Following the discussion of council agenda items, there is a second question period. During the second question period, attendees can only ask questions about items that were on the agenda. No person may use violent, offensive, or disrespectful language when addressing a question to the mayor.
Thank you. So we start off with the people that are here, and then we will go to those who have submitted their questions in writing. So Sharon Friedman.
Good evening, everybody. Before I start, I just want to make mention that a very good friend of mine, Shaki, died. And Shaki was a Holocaust survivor with his mom and brother, saved in Greece by very worthy Christians whose father knew. And I would just love this council down the road for a park because it needs to be colorful. He was a world-renowned artist. If a park, a street, a library can be named for him. We've lost a great Quebecer and a great Canadian at that. So maybe you could think of that. Sadly, I was almost late to the funeral because of the congestion at 2:30 in the afternoon. You've mentioned before to me that Mayor Plante has to do these BAP tests, and to get their approval for their design. How much longer do you think this is going to take, given that she's had 6 years? What pressure can the mayors collectively do to finally try to speed up this process? And is there any way you could sue for her for her breach of a verbal promise? That's my first question. And my second question relates, I have written in French to the Minister of Transport, Guilbeault, to intervene, as the mayors have not, keep pointing fingers. They're not getting anything done. BAP tests are just another code word for just more and more delays. And we are stuck in terrible congestion. The Minister of Transport does know how to build roads and highways. And I'm wondering, what more can you do to move this along? I am now waiting for Guilbeault to answer me, but I'm going to go to Quebec.
We've been doing stuff, so let's give her an update.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Mayor. So basically when last year the City of Montreal announced that they're going to the BAP, the Bureau d'Audience Publique de l'Environnement.
Yeah.
And so that was a good first step, because that's the first step you need to take in order to advance the Cavendish project. And then in the month of May, our engineering department, May 2023, so it's a year later, we found out that in fact they had not been diligent, and that they were not advancing with the studies. So at that point, what we did is we drafted certain resolutions, both for the City Council that we adopted last meeting. I think you were here on the August 14th meeting. But also we presented a resolution to the agglomeration. And at that meeting where our resolution was presented, the City of Montreal finally agreed to advance the Cavendish extension with diligence. But the mayor was not satisfied with the with diligence part of it. He wanted a fixed date. So what we did is we put off the resolution and it's going to be heard again. It's again on the agenda. This is a resolution that's supported by TMR and by Saint Laurent. It's again on the agenda on September 21st. And we're pushing for them to at least go to hire the consultants to do the studies, right? I understand it's like excruciating and I feel the pain because I, like you and like all the counselors here, we have to cross to Cary. This has been going on long enough and we can never get out of Côte Saint-Luc because of the congestion. But at least now they have undertaken to do it. So September 21st, we'll see what happens with the resolution. And in the meantime, we are expecting that, you know, the studies will move forward. But as well, actually on Friday, we're meeting the director of the Office of the Minister of Finance, who happens to be a resident of TMR, and pushing also for them because it's the finance minister that is responsible for the Hippodrome Agreement. And the Hippodrome Agreement, as you know, spells out the obligation that if they want to move Hippodrome, they also have to move Cavendish. Goes together. So that's what we can do. Now, if we want to start mobilizing residents, which is, I suspect, what you want to do, I understand there's, you know, these are things that we can discuss.
Len Miller came to the council.
Oh, yeah. So I have to say that one of our residents came to the council meeting at the
Collaboration.
evaluation, and he was very well received. And also there was a resident from Saint Laurent who is in charge of the Bike to Work Committee at CAE. And so this did have an impact because the person responsible for Cavendish, Sophie Moserol, repeated about 3 or 4 times at that meeting and also in response to the mayor's question, yes, we are moving forward. Yes, we are moving forward, which is much more than we had in June when with the word that we were getting from the engineers was that they were not moving forward. So I hope that that's.
All right, we'll keep the pressure on. They know.
Getting deep in, I know Councillor Seabag has other options on the table. Right.
We, Sophie Massereau was very emphatic on us not passing the resolution, giving her time to give us an exact date of when it's going to go to the Bureau d'Audience Publique, which is the next very important stage, and it has to go. The money's in the budget. They have all the money and they have to just do what they are required to do in order for it to move to the next step. So they say they're doing it. We're pushing as hard as we can to get it done faster, and then we'll go on to the next step. That
So
was
it's still a waiting game.
and of
Okay.
course, we always.
Sorry, just a few words. Look, I think this issue is an important one for a lot of people.
Mhm.
And the reality is, and I've learned this the hard way, is that sometimes things work very, very slowly. And this is
35 years.
right. And so sometimes, you know, without divulging anything, people in council here know that I try to push certain things faster. Sometimes it's just my personality, but I do it for a reason. And the reason is that this has been ongoing for a long time, and it's going to take a long time. It's going to take a long time to plan it. It's going to take a long time to build it. It's going to take a long time before we see anything happening. So this is the reality, and everybody in council here knows
But it's
this.
very sad because there's no housing will get built, and that's a desperate need.
It's his turn to speak. And we
Okay.
did
Alright.
hear the rules today in French and English.
So this is a fact, and this is the reality of what we're facing. However, one thing that we need as a responsible council wanting this to move forward is to keep the traction going. And there's a lot of things that we can do. I think the last council meeting when we pushed, we saw certain things happen. The debate with Councillor Burku was captured. We know how we all feel about this, and we want things to move forward. We just need to make sure that the traction and the momentum is there, and you're part of it. You're part of making sure that as you show up and ask questions, that people are aware that we want this to move forward. And I think this council has a responsibility to make sure that we continue pushing the idea and not saying we're just going to wait until things happen, because when we wait, nothing really gets done, unfortunately. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your continued pursuit and passion. Okay, Susan Sursick.
I was
Hello.
wondering, how do we go about getting cameras in the three main arteries out of Côte Saint-Luc? And the reason for it, just like you, Mayor Brownstein, is that I too had someone staying at my house on Thursday evening. And early Friday morning at 4 o'clock, they stole his car. It was gone in 45 seconds. We have cameras all around the street. We know exactly how they did it. Unfortunately, they have a way to glow certain cameras, and you didn't get a license plate. However, when they left our streets, they turned off their lights and they went at a regular pace, not to attract attention. And that's the way they would have gone out of Côte Saint-Luc. And the police would have been able to pick up their license plate of the first car that brought the guy in to pick up the second car, as well as probably a picture of who it is that went out of Côte Saint-Luc with the car, because they know what time it was. We have, a clear picture of what time. And unfortunately, we don't have the cameras in Côte Saint-Luc to do what we need to do. This is a second car that was stolen within a block radius in the last 2 weeks. Security never came to the street, never came during the night, never came the following night, because I kept a record of that. So what can we do?
Yeah, well, we are looking at what we can do to improve safety and security in the city, and cameras are a good idea. Now, for sure, the idea of cameras will definitely look into it. They're not expensive, and
They're
it's a
not
good idea.
expensive. They need to be certain types and certain heights.
Mhm.
I'm sure you'll be aware of it now that your house got broken into.
Yeah, I'm becoming an expert on cameras.
We all are. I have more cameras going up in my house than I can imagine. Anyways, that's my only question. If it can be done,
Thank you.
that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay,
Oh, you want to do video?
Rosie Bahar.
Good evening. First, I want to thank the city and the council for the amazing work that was done on Kerwin Park. It's definitely been enjoyed by all the residents in the area. It's really a lovely addition to the community, so thank you very much for that. And I guess you could all assume why I'm up here. Of course, I have a question regarding the proposal for the Jardin Westminster project. I see it's moved from the urban development side of things to the legal side of things. My question pertains to despite, of course, there being a surge of signatures that were received to have a referendum specifically against these bylaws, about 100% more than needed for each zone, should the majority of the city councilors, when the time comes, continue to vote in favor of the project and a referendum goes forward, I'm wondering, one, has a final amount cost of the referendum been determined? I did reach out to the city, and I think those who responded, I understand that there's no exact cost determined at this time, but I'm wondering if there's a rough approximate as to where the money for the referendum is coming from as well. Would be nice to know. Is it coming from our tax dollars, despite us saying multiple times we don't want this? I'm just curious
Okay,
how it works.
so the approximate cost is $30,000, and it would come from taxes like in any referendum. The vote will be tonight, so you'll see how it goes. Doesn't look like it's moving forward from what I hear, but we'll see.
It's good to hear. I mean, those tax dollars could be used for those cameras. It'd be a great, great.
Who knows?
Who knows? Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. The next is Harold Forrester.
Hi, my name is Harold Forrester. I am a specialist in noise controlled design, formerly a registered engineer in Quebec. I looked at the details in their proposed bylaw, and I have many, not just questions, but concerns about how it's done. Rather than talk a lot of technical details now, I've already made arrangements with Patrick Aoud, if I pronounce his name correctly, I apologize if I didn't, who is the project manager for this. I'm going to be meeting with him and trying to exchange information, and then I'll come up with a formal paper, give to the city council to be able to look at it, rather than me just babbling incoherently this evening. So that's it. I thank you then.
I thank you. Malka Mosratel. I hope I pronounced it right.
Yes.
Mos. How do you
Yes.
pronounce the last name? It's not
I-
written clearly.
Moscatel.
Moscatel, it's a K, sorry.
I think I had almost the answer, but I will still ask the question. We had some petition for the request of the referendum. And I don't know, I did it myself because when we went around to tell them the date and to come here, some people said, we signed it already, the petition, but we will be out of town. And there were so many people, at least in our area, were 20 people that they signed it, but they were not. Is anybody compared the petition and the names of,
What's that?
is anybody compared the number of people who
Well, it's all
were
been studied. Yes, we have all the names and statistics and
for
and
the-
our
no,
legal,
no,
our
but
legal,
in
our legal
the
department studied
on
it
the
all.
petition, like, because some people were on the petition, but they couldn't go to sign because they were on vacation.
Oh, I don't know if that's been studied, but there's,
I mean, because I studied and I wanted to know if before you decided yes or no to compare these names, just
right.
the
Well,
question.
and enough people managed to get out during that day to sign that we got a lot of names and a lot of numbers. I think it's 180. What was the number? 180?
98 and 95 and 88, I know.
Yeah, something like that. One close to 180. Okay.
Because I know a lot of people that they are in Israel, they are on vacation, they are young people that they were on vacation, and the families were upset that, not upset, that they couldn't
Anyway,
vote
we're
before.
going to be talking about that a
Okay.
lot tonight, so
But,
you'll get
this
hear all
study was
kinds
not-
of
Okay.
speeches and stories
Thank
very,
you.
very soon.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Norman Sabin.
Hi, good evening. Sharon stole part of my thunder, but I just wanted to make a few points about the Cavendish extension because we've talked about it extensively. Last meeting, August 14th, made some very important points. That despite over 12 months, the city of Montreal hasn't even commissioned an environmental study. Somehow the $100 million it was destined for the project seems to have gone up in smoke. I don't know, but seems to be an issue. And that Quebec has not enforced an agreement that they're supposed to enforce. So I don't know what's going to happen going forward. It's a good sign that it was discussed at the agglomeration. It will be discussed again. But we might reach a point in the future where we have to make a decision, I guess, about taking a legal action. Mayor Brownstein mentioned this August 14th. My question is, what would be the threshold to launch legal action? What exactly would be the justification? What would be the objectives of the legal action? And what might be the cost of such a legal action to? get
First of all,
the
well,
Cavendish
I'm not a specialist I'm in that area of law, and we'd have to go for a legal opinion. Obviously, what we're talking about is that we're not there right now because they're claiming they're going to respect the agreement between the province and the city of Montreal, and they're moving forward to the next stage. But the theory behind that would be if you're in breach of the agreement, then we would get a legal opinion to see if we'd have the authority to have the province force the city of Montreal to respect the terms of the agreement, or theoretically give back the hippodrome.
But respecting means that there has to be a shovel on the ground, there has to be actual plan. for the
So they
extension.
got it for a $1. They're supposed to build the hippodrome land, and this, the one condition is to build Cavendish. So I think the terms of the agreement are pretty clear. Build it, not just put a shovel in the ground.
Right.
But listen, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a lawyer that specializes in that area of law. We're not at the point where we have to go for that legal opinion because the city of Montreal is now stating that they are going to respect the terms of the agreement and they're moving forward.
You know, it's just that it's going on and nothing's concrete's really happening. So I don't know. I think we have to think of a point where, you know, we've given them enough time and it's time for us to act and push them hard because they'll come up with other excuses too. You know, it's just.
Well, we'll keep on pushing. And if it comes to the point where we have to look for legal counsel, we will.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now we have two questions that are in writing. So who would want to read them? Who wants to read the questions? I'll give the answers. We got 2 in writing. She's comfortable. Okay. Okay. Merci. On va commencer.
So we have a first question from Ms. Sylvia Sentosa. On behalf of an organization of a Côte Saint-Luc figure skating club, I'm not sure whether you are aware, but there is a mold everywhere at the Samuel Moscovich Arena. This mold produces spores that is a public health and safety hazard. The issue is that the temperature of the hallway is so much greater than the temperature of the area where the ice rink is, that the condensation creates a damp environment for mold to grow. I'm attaching a few pictures of the moisture on the ceiling in all of the lockers. There are puddles outside of the doors. I'm also attaching pictures that represent the extent of the mold. Adults and children consistently use this facility. I tried contacting City Hall about this urgent issue, but no one got back to me. My question is, how urgent does the city feel this issue is? When and how will this issue be addressed? Thank you.
Right. So we were made aware of this problem, and a specialist will come in to determine if it's mold or something else. In the meantime, it will be cleaned up and it's closed for any future storage until a more long-term solution is found. And all equipment has been removed, so it's not being used for as a storage facility any longer, and a specialist will determine exactly what has to be done. Okay, the next question.
Next question is from Ms. Toby Schulman. Congratulations on Canada Day in August. Unfortunately, I was not able to get a lift there and missed everything. What could the council think about developing a program to get seniors to city events when they have no other way of getting there? It's the same idea as the Peppermint bus for the Coming Center. And have you heard about a New Hampshire community initiative for seniors to get out and meet with others in local restaurants? That sounds like a good program for Côte Saint-Luc. What do you think?
Well, first of all, we'll mention that to staff. We do know that individuals that are 65 years of age or older have free transit, public transit, and that includes not only the bus, but also Adapté. I know the price of the Adapté is the bus ticket, and I believe now with this new rule, it's probably free. But yeah, Adapté is another way that people can get around. And as long as they call in advance, they'll get picked up and shuttled to the location of their choice, and then they could reserve that same service to take them home. So that is a service that actually does exist right now by the Transit Authority. On the issue of community meals and restaurant, well, again, it's something that Parks and Recreation, I guess, would be the right department to look into new programs of organizing that, or see if there's federal funding or state other type of funding. But we do have a lot of social organizations, social activities, including the food depot in NDG. We know there's a need to combat isolation. We're very lucky to have a variety of clubs that provide services in both Côte Saint-Luc and beyond, so that people can socialize, whether they participate in the clubs in our city or throughout the island of Montreal. There's also Meals on Wheels. So yeah, there are a lot of different different organizations, and our Parks and Recreation Department is very aware of all of them, and will be able to direct individuals who would be interested in taking advantage of our programs or programs that exist beyond the city. Okay, there is one more question that came in. Ayala 5732. Blossom. Another one.
Hi.
They're still coming into like a. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. So I understand that door-to-door solicitation is illegal, correct? Okay. So
Without a permit, without a permit.
what do you mean without what does that mean?
Get a permit to do certain things, but
Like if they get a permit, they're allowed to go door to door?
certain things you can do with a permit, no?
It's kind of confusing.
Yeah, it's all, yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
It's a little bit confusing to me. I mean, it's either it's illegal or not.
It's not legal if you get a permit. But I think for certain things you can get a permit, depends what, no? Jonathan? Can't you get a permit for certain things in the city to go and, like if you're,
So you can get a permit to go soliciting door to door for a company?
right? And of course, we tolerate kids sort of going, giving
Yes,
selling
yes.
chocolate bars. for their
Yes,
school.
that's fine.
So there's all kinds of solicitation. That is solicitation.
But
So
I'm
there are-
talking about companies that go door to door.
Just drop a pamphlet up. I don't know, but
No, no, I'm not talking about pamphlets. I'm talking like they knock on your door and they try. So, okay, this morning
be
on my
more
drive,
specific, so I'll know.
sorry?
Be more specific, so I'll know what you're
Yes.
talking about.
So this morning on my drive, I noticed a roofing company, kind of an odd name. And the next thing I know, I see on social media that this is the same roofing company that's going around in Côte Saint-Luc and in the West Island, targeting the vulnerable, specifically elderly population. And I have an elderly parent. So it concerns me, and it should concern all of us. You know, one day we're all gonna be targeted in that age group. And so it was very alarming to me, because the more I read about it, the more I understood just how this is not the first time they've done it. They've been taken to court for fraud, and some people got defrauded for, like, we're talking as 18,000 as high as 90 something thousand dollars. This is very serious.
That's very illegal.
Yes, they do it based on fear, emotion, misinformation. They go on the roof, tell you that they come back, show you pictures. Oh, this is missing this, there's problems. They're fake pictures. And then when they start doing the work,
That's beyond soliciting.
Okay.
That's a scam.
but this, okay, so many different words. We're talking here, yes, a scam. I mentioned fraud, fraudsters,
That's a clear
scam.
scam.
Exactly. And they were actually going door to door in Côte Saint-Luc, and some homeowners were, were getting swayed until one resident actually stopped that and was talking to police. The Côte Saint-Luc police are well aware. And oh my God, there's a timer. Oh my God. So I called public security, and they sent me to Côte Saint-Luc police. Police told me that door-to-door solicitation is illegal and it falls under public security. What can we do to educate, to share widely with all the constituents, all your constituents of Côte Saint-Luc, not to respond to these people? I mean, sending an email, there's a lot of email apathy. There is maybe a flyer, a bright colored flyer with a big warning that this type of thing is illegal. We need to do more to educate and spread awareness for the residents. It's really serious stuff going on. And there's more companies coming out now, last minute rush of scamming before the snow sets in.
Right. There was an email that just came in this afternoon from my secretary. I don't know if you spoke to her or who sent it, about this very issue. In terms of what the police told you, anything illegal is a police thing. I mean, we as public security certainly can do education, like you're saying, or our communications department can educate people against these issues. In terms of enforcement, this is police though, but we should educate about this.
But I mean,
Somebody, was it you who spoke to Kathy?
I didn't speak to who?
So I got an email,
To
Not
who?
email
To
today,
who? To Kathy where?
my secretary.
No,
She just sent an email this afternoon at 4:15.
no, I called
about
up.
Seniors getting frauded by roofing company.
Yes, so that wasn't me. I called up a public security, and rather than tell me, see, it was the police who educated me what to say to the public security, because I myself didn't know. I didn't know I didn't have all that awareness before. So I said, I know it's under your purview, and what so I'm making the complaint to you. So they said, doesn't go like that. They have to come to you. You have to report it to us. We come there and we catch them in the act. So I'm thinking, okay, this is a little bit of useful information that I should have known before. So it's not just educating this city at large, but it's also like, I find the public security service, public security department is too quick to close the phone. They do get angry and they're too quick to close the phone and just brush it off as this is a police thing. I mean, tell us, explain to us. And when I asked him about it, he said, I have to.
The bell rang a while ago, so
Yeah.
past the 3 minutes. But in terms of being aware, we did get a detailed email with all the details on this issue. It was sent to our Director of Public Safety, Philip Chateauvert, and I just forwarded from Stephen's computer, Daryl, to our Communications Director so that we can do what we can to make sure that people are aware of this, because that's very bad.
It's very serious.
Very
And
serious.
I just want to say for closing remarks, that I just feel like rather than have to always do this for every company that comes along, there must be a way to, try to nip this now for all, like, so that we're all prepared for all companies coming. I'm not saying me particularly, I'm talking about the ones who are most vulnerable.
No, we do not allow people to ring the doorbell, no matter what the company is, to sell their wares. It's different chocolate bars for kids. But I'm
Yeah.
just saying, no company is allowed to just ring the doorbell. They can drop off a flyer or hire Canada Post to do that,
Yeah.
or a service, but they're not supposed to be ringing doorbells to solicit. No. So how do you educate people about that? That's something we should educate people. It's the same way to educate them about not answering the phone and.
No, but I know, but it's
and
like every
getting
time
scammed on the phone, because you get scammed on the phone too by giving your,
Yeah.
that's happening.
But I
all
mean,
the
like
time.
every time on Côte Saint-Luc ideas, it's like somebody is saying, oh, be aware of this company coming and this company. And then 6 months later, oh, okay, another company. It's like, let's just like, I don't know. I would like to see a campaign so that we don't have to warn
Right.
each other,
Okay,
that
so
we
our
know that.
Director of Communications, Darrell Levine, has been forwarded that email and has all the facts. It's come up with some ideas. It's not just about that company. It's just a general idea.
Yeah,
Thank-
general, yes, exactly. in general.
Sam Hashem.
Sorry. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sam and this is Jan. We are both lifeguards at the Côte Saint-Luc pool. Well, I'll start by prefacing this. I personally love my job. I've been working there for 3 years and Jan much longer than I have. But as lifeguards, one of our main jobs is to ensure safety at the pool. And that's why we're here today. So this might sound a bit off topic at first, but it is very related to safety at the pool. Wages in Côte Saint-Luc for lifeguards are quite bad as compared to other pools in the area. The minimum wage in Quebec is $15.25. The starting salary for lifeguards at the Côte Saint-Luc pool is $15.67. In the city of Montreal, it's $17.06. City of Westmount is $18.07, and the YMCA pays $20. Now, this does create a bunch of safety problems, as in experienced guards. So people with 2, 3, 4, 5 years of experience tend to leave Côte Saint-Luc to go work at other pools that pay better. It just makes more sense from a money perspective to go work somewhere else, even if you are an experienced guard at Côte Saint-Luc and have decent pay scaling. As well as that, it is often difficult to fill out the staff, especially for instructors. We end up hiring new instructors every single semester, and that reduces the quality of teaching as well as makes it generally more unsafe for all the kids receiving lessons. Did I miss anything?
Thank you.
Yeah. So basically what we're asking is, would it be possible to potentially open negotiations into a pay increase?
Also, I would like to add that we've already discussed this with our union. They've also passed on the message, all the facts and all the arguments that we've made. They passed it to HR, and HR has discussed it and has refused our proposal. And we're wondering if there is anything else we could do that could help move things forward a little bit
But we'll take these comments to our HR department as well. You know, so you came to the meeting and you went to the union. So those are all the right steps to take. And we'll see what we can do. You know, I used to be a lifeguard myself. It was probably the best job that I enjoyed. All the jobs that I've had, including mayor. It's so much fun.
I completely agree. It's a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, everybody wants to be paid what they deserve, and you know we'll do our best within budget, and we will make sure that the issue is addressed by the Director of Parks and Recreation and HR. Right. Thank you. So if there's no other questions, we will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is approval of the minutes. Councillor Cohen.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I so move that minutes from the regular meeting of August 14th, 2023 be approved.
Seconded by Councillor Azarad. In discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Any business arising from the minutes? Any government correspondence? I don't think so. So we'll go to the departmental reports. Councillor Schuster.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The monthly reports submitted for August 2023 be and are hereby approved as drafted.
Moved by Councillor Schuster. Any discussion? Seconded by Councillor Azarad. Any discussion? Councillor Erdely.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll start on the finance side. We held our budget consultation on August 23rd. For those who weren't able to make it, you can watch the video on Côte Saint-Luc's website. I'll just share one of the key points that I brought up is with regards to transfer duties or welcome tax. Normally, in an average year, Côte Saint-Luc takes in about $4 to $8 million from the transfer duty. This year, at this point, and we're more than halfway through the year, we're sitting at approximately $1.2 million. So it's a huge shortfall. The hope was, and on a personal note as well, I was hoping interest rates would go down. At least they didn't go up. But we're hoping to see more homes being bought in the next few months. Otherwise, there is the potential for the first time in the 18 years I've been a councillor of a possible deficit for the year. So anyway, I wishful thinking, but I just wanted to share that in the name of transparency. Also, just to mention, one that I'd like to share, 111 water filter rebates were given out. So a reminder to residents who live in a home that may have a lead service line, please have a lead filter. I have one in my own home, and I encourage those who may have lead to do the same. On the VCOP front, I want to thank our volunteers and mention we had quite a few events. Most recently, our Canada Day in August, and many volunteers. So it's always appreciated to see our VCOP members. On the local side, in terms of District 4, I want to mention a few things. We closed up the Fletcher Park mini camp program. We averaged between 10 to 15 on most days, and on Wednesday, 25 children participating in the program. So I'm happy about that and look forward to next summer to continue it once again. Also in District 4, Schwartz Park, the bike repair station, I believe it's the second in Côte Saint-Luc. We have one at City Hall. The second one got installed a few weeks ago. So I encourage any residents in the neighborhood, if you have an issue with your bike, there's a pump and all the tools necessary to repair your bike that are there. And repairs to the splash pad should be starting late September, early October. We deliberately held off and didn't do the repairs to the splash pad. This is the water piping network. We didn't do it during the summer because we wanted to make sure children had access, and especially with our recent heat wave, but it'll be done later before the winter time. And two more. Also locally, I want to recognize the one of the local dry cleaners, Nettoyeur Lester Tone at 5541 Westminster. That was the August Merchant of the Month. I'll be going this week to officially drop off the certificate and prepare the press release and so on. So that'll be done shortly. And finally, on the environmental front, we had our big drop off on August 20th. I myself went by and dropped off some household hazardous waste. We had 366 residents, up from 252 last year. That included 56 with household hazardous waste, 162 with e-waste, and 148 with paper to be shredded. So again, we hope more residents will use this service, and I know we talked about possibly offering this more times throughout the year, so that's something we're looking into as well. And that's it for me. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ridley. Who's next? Councillor Schuster.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a few highlights from Recreation. Canada Day in August, even though Canada Day came late this year to Côte Saint-Luc, it didn't stop our residents from coming out to celebrate at Trudeau Park to enjoy music, games, inflatables, face painting, and more. We received a lot of positive comments about the extended drone show, and one especially meaningful comment came from, I think, a 10-year-old boy who appreciated the fact that we found a greener alternative to fireworks. Fall registration took place at the end of August for fall programming, and in a single day, there were almost 1,000 registrants for fall programming. Recreation staff launched a new registration initiative for a better user experience for our residents, including starting at 8 a.m. instead of noon, and using a better physical layout for in-person registration that enabled more access to staff members to get their questions answered. The annual maintenance shutdown for the ACC and the gym is still going on, but will cease in 1 week from today. So we'll reopen September 18th, and new schedules for the pool and arena will be posted to the Côte Saint-Luc website shortly. And just stay tuned for October's Thanksgiving and Halloween activities. And as always, I'd like to thank Director Cornelia Ziga and her team for helping us all to keep active and entertained in Côte Saint-Luc, rain or shine. And thank you as well to the seasonal staff, including lifeguards. And we hope to see you next summer.
Thank you, Councillor Sabac.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'm going to keep it very brief. I think this the efforts that we continue to put in on the PS side will hopefully on the public safety side will hopefully yield some great results in the near future. I'm not going to go into the details, but you will see as we move forward some changes, especially during the holiday period, with some of our PSO. The last council meeting of the Borough of Côte Saint-Luc, Côte des Neiges NDG, I attended, was very informative. I had a good dialogue, which has been broadcasted as well, with the mayor of the borough, asking her some pretty pointed questions in regards to the traffic on the Carry and the Cavendish extension. And as I mentioned in my opening remarks, when we had the question around Cavendish, we need to continue doing that and pushing forward the narrative around the Cavendish extension to give our residents some respite when it comes to traffic and getting to the Carry. I'll end by just saying it's Rosh Hashanah on Friday. I want to wish all the residents celebrating Rosh Hashanah, Shana Tova, just health and an abundance of blessings as well. And I hope to see you on the new year as healthy and as numerous as you are here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next? Anyone else? Councillor Burku.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So on Wednesday, Dr. Lawrence Rosenberg, who is the head of the CU Centre West, is giving a talk with regard to healthcare and the transformations that healthcare is going through, mostly dealing with the technology that's driving healthcare and revamping the way healthcare is provided through virtual wards and all the new sensors and monitors and so on and so forth. What does this have to do with Côte Saint-Luc? Well, what?
Smart cities.
Yeah, so exactly. So what this has to do with Côte Saint-Luc is we are very much on the same wavelength as Dr. Rosenberg, because the city of Côte Saint-Luc has their Living Lab project where we are going to implement basically smart homes for seniors, and starting with the 20 seniors who are going to be in the first batch. And so we're very much in touch with them. And I think that at this point, if residents are interested, they should come and hear Dr. Rosenberg and hear what his vision is, because it's something that is going to change and evolve and is going to include some, future partnerships with Côte Saint-Luc, most definitely. So that's what I'd like to report. It's on Wednesday.
Wednesday,
and
6:30 6:30.
Wednesday, 6:30?
this week.
Yeah. It's in the
In
library,
the auditorium. It's in the auditorium.
in the auditorium.
6:30 Wednesday in the auditorium,
6:30 in the auditorium.
September 13th. Okay, it should
Thank
be very
you.
interesting. Anybody else? Councillor Cohen.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, on September the 27th, Wednesday, September 27th, Côte Saint-Luc will induct Nakuset into our human rights walkway. There'll be a ceremony at Trudeau Park at 10:30 in the morning. Rain out date, rain or shine is the next day, the 28th. We will be having students from a variety of schools. I see Commissioner Jamie Fabian in the audience. If he's not at law school that morning, perhaps he'll join us because some of his
27th.
students
Thursday
from, we
morning.
expect from the local schools, the private Jewish day schools. I'm not sure if Solomon Schechter will be sending any students, but I do know that Bialik and JPPS will. We're hoping Merton and a number of other schools. It's going to be very exciting. Darrell Levine, thank you for all your work in preparing that event. I had a ceremony to rededicate Isidore Goldberg Park recently. I want to thank Councillors Erdely and Ben-Isri for joining me for the ceremony. It meant a lot to Isidore's family. Of course, we had improved the park. We had made a lot of refurbishments, and this was something that Isidore had been asking me about many, many times. He wanted the sign moved, which we did, and he was hoping the park. So we did it in his memory, and his family was there. They really appreciated it. Thank you for Beatrice Newman and Public Works for an amazing job that they did right next to Finestone Park. I did a walkabout at Rembrandt Park with my constituents. We walked through the park, lots of notes. I've now reported to Public Works issues that I'm hoping that we can resolve, and I'll be meeting with Public Works officials for my own walkabout just with them very soon. If you listen to my latest podcast, my Mike Cohen podcast, on my website at mikecohen.ca, Rachel Dara, who's a young singer from Côte Saint-Luc, she performed actually at the Isidore Goldberg Park. She did a song in his memory, and I did a podcast with her. It was very interesting. And finally, congratulations to my constituents, Stanley Diamond and his wife, Ruth, who celebrated their 175th birthday. It was a combo party. He turned 90 and she turned 85. And I believe the mayor sent them an official letter of congratulations. Stan is just amazing. He is, of course, the founder of the Jewish Genealogical Society, among many other talents. And I should only be in half as good shape as Stan in 30 years from now when I turn 90, if I do turn 90. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Cohen. Anyone else? Councillor Ben-Isri.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just would like to point out, one item concerning public works. It's today the installation of the fence on Cavendish between Kildare and Haywood. I think this is very important because for security reason, and it looks very nice. I saw when they start, I think since yesterday they were working on it. I saw when they start the installation this morning, and when I came back from work, it was a very good improvement, and it's very, very nice. And hopefully this is for security reasons. So thanks to Public Works and for all the team who are working, on a daily basis, serving our community, our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Very nice. Yeah, if you drive down, it's up there. It's almost up completely. Any other question? Any other speakers? No, that's it. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried unanimously. And now we go to item number 7, Financial and Information Technology Services. Councillor Erdely, 7A.
Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Hold on, I was just putting the event in my calendar because I didn't see it. So, all right. Be it resolved that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council approves the attached list of disbursements for the period of August 1st, 2023 to August 31st, 2023 for a total amount of $5,031,680.82 in Canadian funds, and that treasurer certificate number 23-0116 dated September 5th, 2023 has been issued by the city treasurer attesting to the availability of funds to cover the described expenses.
Moved by Councillor Early, seconded by Councillor Berku. Any discussion?
So just this month, it's slightly higher than our average. And the key items here are a payment for our sewer sleeving that was done earlier in the year and during the summer, and 2 bond payments for bond number 25 and 31. Thank you.
So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carried unanimously. 7B, Councillor Early.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council hereby approves the 2 option years related to the second renewal agreement with PG based on the December 12, 2011 agreement with the modifications indicated in the first and second renewal agreement for the period between January 1st, 2024 and December 31st, 2025 for a total amount of $338,100 plus applicable tax. That the attached Annex 1 to new master agreement 21-25 form an integral part of the resolution, and that treasurer's certificate will be issued by the treasurer in January 2024 and at the start of each subsequent year of the term to attest to the availability of funds to cover the described expenses.
Moved by Councillor Early, seconded by Councillor Berku. Any discussion?
So just to mention briefly, so PG is our main software that we use throughout the city. It's used by almost all our departments, including finance, including recreation, public works, and so on. And basically, this is a renewal, and it's at an annual increase of 2% per year, which we consider a reasonable increase. Thank you.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Anyone opposed? It's carried unanimously, and we go to item 8, Human Resources 8A, Councillor Azarad.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council approves the hiring of Hugo Lepine as mechanic, permanent full-time blue collar position effective August 21st, 2023. The treasurer's certificate number 23-0111 dated August 30th, 2023 has been issued by the city treasurer attesting to the availability of funds to cover the above described expenses.
Moved by Councillor Azarad, seconded by Councillor Early. Any discussion?
Yeah, it's a hiring of a mechanic that's been in the works for quite a while. They've been looking for one for a long time. So they finally got a good one.
Good. Moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried unanimously. B, Councillor Azarad.
Yes.
The office agent.
Be it resolved that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council approves the hiring of Colleen Silvano as an office agent, permanent full-time white-collar position effective September 11th, 2023. The treasurer's certificate number 23-0115 dated August 31st, 2023 has been issued by the city treasurers attesting to the availability of funds to cover the above described expenses.
Moved by Councillor Azarad, seconded by Councillor Early. Any discussion?
No, this one's self-explanatory.
All in favor? Carried unanimously. And now we move to C, Councillor Azarad.
Thank you. Be it resolved that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council ratifies the status change of the position of library clerk currently held by Yasaman Bagi from part-time auxiliary to full-time permanent effective September 2nd, 2023. The treasurer's certificate number 23-0113 dated August 31st, 2023 has been issued by the city treasurer attesting to the availability of funds to cover the above described expenses.
Moved by Councillor Azarad, seconded by Councillor Early. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously, and we move to D. Councillor Azarad.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council ratifies the status change of the position of a library clerk currently held by Catherine Vihar from full-time permanent to part-time auxiliary effective September 2nd, 2023.
Moved by Councillor Azarad, seconded by Councillor Early. Any discussion?
So as you can see, the different positions are people just being moved around to make it more efficient.
All in favor? Carried unanimously, and we move to E. Councillor Azarad.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council ratifies the promotion of Melina Muna to Senior Human Resources Advisor effective June 23rd, 2023. The treasurer's certificate number 23-0110 dated August 30th, 2023 has been issued by city treasurer attesting to the availability of funds to cover the above described expenses.
Moved by Councillor Azarad, seconded by Councillor Erdely. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. We move to F, Councillor Azarad.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council approves the hiring of David Whitney as a reception, admission, and shop attendant, permanent, full-time white-collar position effective August 9th, 2023. That the treasurer's certificate 230112 dated August 30th, 2023 has been issued by the city treasurer attesting to the availability of funds to cover the above described expenses.
Moved by Councillor Azarad, seconded by Councillor Erdely. Any discussion?
No, so.
No discussion. All in favor? Carried unanimously. And now we move to legal services. Councillor Burku, 9A.
Thank you. Il est résolu que le conseil municipal de Côte Saint-Luc autorise le paiement d'un montant de 120 000 pour sa part de la franchise collective qui sera détenue par l'UMQ ainsi que sa cotisation annuelle de 1% de la prime versée plus les taxes applicables sous réserve d'une cotisation minimale globale de 4 000 pour l'ensemble du groupe au montant de 5 418,84 plus les taxes applicables. Que le certificat du trésorier numéro 23-0094 daté du 1er août 2023 a été émis par le trésorier de la ville pour attester de la disponibilité des fonds pour couvrir les dépenses décrites ci-dessus.
Proposé par le conseiller Burku, appuyé par le conseiller Sebag. Est-ce qu'il y a des discussions?
This is just to authorize a payment of its share of the collective deductible to be paid to by the UMQ in the amount of 120,000, and also to pay 1% of its annual premium of $5,418 plus taxes.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried unanimously. And now we move to the council schedule, B. The regular council meeting schedule.
Okay, so this is to approve the schedule for the council meetings of 2024. I guess that this will be deposited, and I don't know, I don't even see a resolution. Hang on, let me see. Is there ah oui, OK. Que le conseil autorise par le présent la tenue de ces séances mensuelles ordinaires pour l'année 2024 selon l'horaire des séances annexées au présent à l'annexe A pour faire partie intégrante du procès verbal. So this is one meeting a month, usually the second Tuesday of the month.
Monday.
The second Monday of the month, sorry, going from January to December.
So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried unanimously. And now there's a tabling by the city clerk.
Oui, alors je dépose le certificat concernant la procédure d'enregistrement qui a eu lieu le 21 août dernier et concernant le BAILA 2217-60. Donc, il y avait deux registres. Le premier registre RU62 et RU43. Pour le RU62, le nombre de signatures requises était de 7 et le nombre de personnes qui ont signé le registre est de 0. Pour RU43, le nombre de signatures requises était 42 et le nombre de signatures était de 88. Le deuxième registre concernait les zones RM60, RU42 et RU43. Pour RM60, le nombre de signatures requises était de 1 et les personnes qui ont signé 0. RU42, le nombre de signatures requises 41 et le nombre de personnes qualifiées qui sont enregistrées est de 95. Concernant la zone RU43, le nombre de signatures requises était 42 et le nombre de signatures était au nombre de 87. Donc, la conclusion, c'est que le BAILA 2217-60 n'est pas reconnu par les citoyens concernés.
OK. Merci. All right. So That's the report on the results from the register for Jardin Westminster. And we'll be discussing it very shortly on the agenda at item F, which is 2 more away. So now we have Councillor Burku dealing with the authorization to settle a court file.
Okay, merci. So be it resolved that the Côte Saint-Luc Council hereby agrees to settle the proceeding in case number, I'll give you the case number 522-269-530-211, known as the proceedings, and in the amount of $8,000 transaction to be paid out to plaintiff by defendant, the whole pursuant to the terms and conditions agreed upon by the parties at their CRA standing for, let me just see.
Conférence de règlement à l'amiable. or settlement
Conférence de
contract.
règlement à l'amiable. Then merci. That council hereby authorizes any of the following individuals to sign any document to give effect to the foregoing settlement: city manager, the director of legal services, the general counsel, the director of parks and recreation, the city treasurer. That council further authorizes the Court of Quebec to homologate the transaction.
Okay. So that's been moved by Councillor Burku, seconded by Councillor Sabag. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. And now we'll go to the next one, which is another offer of settlement E.
Okay, just a second, I'm almost there. This is a resolution ratifying the offer of settlement for file number 517-126-285-231. Be it resolved that the preamble of this resolution shall form an integral part thereof, as if cited hereinafter at length, that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council hereby authorize the settlement of the affirmation file under the conditions stipulated in the document transaction and quittance through the law firm DHC Avocat, that the Director of Legal Services City Clerk is hereby authorized to approve and sign any document giving effect to the foregoing.
Moved by Councillor Burku, seconded by Councillor Sabag. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. And now we move to F, which is a resolution regarding the bylaw 271-1760. Before we move to it, I think I'll read the statement for Councillor, or maybe we'll just, well, yeah, I'll read it first, and then we'll go for Andy's reading the resolution. Okay, so Councillor Kajavsky is not here today because he's away. He's out of the country, but he asked me to read the following statement, and this is from Councillor Kajavsky in his words. Okay, it's concerning the resolution that we're about to discuss regarding Jardin Westminster. While council does not have a crystal ball, we can draw some clear conclusions based on the number of individuals who took the time and made the effort to show up at City Hall in person to sign the registers opposing the rezoning for Jardin Westminster project. Over 30% of the electorate in those zones signed the register. To me, as their representative on this council, that indicates a clear and insurmountable opposition to the rezoning that, simply put, would certainly result in a decisive failure at referendum. To continue the process through to referendum at this stage would be to ignore the clear will of the residents, as well as an irresponsible expenditure of taxpayer dollars, particularly during a time of extreme budget cuts. I hope that council's thinking is aligned with my own, but each member will vote how they see fit. So that is from Councillor Kajavsky. I'm going to just add my own comments before we go to the vote on the resolution. Oh, of course.
Yeah. I think you
Should I
should.
do it after?
Yeah.
Pass the resolution?
Well,
Pass the resolution?
Propose the.
Yeah, propose the resolution.
Yes.
Well, not pass, propose. Okay, Councillor Schuster, read the resolution, please.
The full thing or just the be
You have to
approved?
be careful which one you read now. You got two options. It's 286.
286, okay.
286.
Okay, in view of the number of signatures receiving the holding of the registers on August 21st, 2023 concerning bylaw entitled Bylaw to amend the zoning bylaw number 2217 of the city of Côte Saint-Luc in order to reduce the actual limits of zone RU 64, to repeal zone RM 60, to create the new zone HM 7, to replace the table of uses and norms of the zone RU 62, and to modify the definition of mixed dwelling. Be it resolved that bylaw 2217-60 entitled Bylaw to amend the zoning bylaw number 2217 of the city of Côte Saint-Luc in order to reduce the actual limits of zone RU 62, to repeal zone RM 60, to create the new zone HM 7, to replace the table of uses and norms and of zone RU 62, and to modify the definition of mixed dwelling, be and is hereby withdrawn, and that a public notice of this withdrawal be given by the city clerk to inform the persons concerned.
Moved by Councillor Schuster. Seconded by, who wants to second it? Councillor Early. Any discussion? So now we'll go into the discussion. I'm going to use my prerogative to do my discussion first, although everybody's going to get a chance to speak for sure. My last kick at the can. Still try to have the, I mean, it's going to be, it won't be a tie tonight because there's 7 people, right? But I just want to express my particular view. There's no good or bad to this particular project. It's good and it's bad. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. No project is perfect. There are benefits. It brings in tax revenue. It brings more places for housing for residents to live. It gives more commercial viability to the neighborhood. And it's dense. And there are certain issues with the density of the project. And there is a zoning already to allow for 6 stories. And this goes beyond. So even if this project was not to go forward in its present format, it could go forward in another rendition without having to rezone height above 6 stories. And there are other possibilities. So there's no good or bad side, but what we do in a city is we have a process that is provided under the City and Towns Act that we have to follow that allows for a referendum in these type of cases. And the referendum allows the residents of the neighborhood to express their will. And when they express their will, we as a council then have that right to withdraw the bylaw if we feel it prudent. In this particular case, 30% of the electorate came out to vote. That's a lot of people that took the time to go out to vote. In the last election, and I think I'm a pretty nice guy, I only got 40% of the population to come out to vote for me. So you guys already got 30% of the population to go out to vote against this. That's a lot. It's a lot. So people usually go out to vote when they're against something a lot faster than when they're in favor of something. It's harder to get them to go vote for something that they're not passionate about. So it seems very clear that the residents have spoken and there's no way that it's going to pass, that it's going to cost $30,000 to go ahead and do it. So to me, I would recommend to my fellow councillors not to make the decision to go forward. But I still say that there is potential for that land to be developed in a positive way. And the developers have to work with the residents and with this council to come up with other proposals and come up with a better project. And that would be my recommendation and the will of the residents of the neighborhood. And that's the law as it exists today. It allows residents to make that decision on referendum, and it allows the council to make that decision to withdraw a bylaw when they think it prudent. So that is my recommendation, although I probably won't have to vote today because there won't be a tie. There's only 7 of us, 7 of councillors here. Who would like to speak next? Anybody want to speak? Councillor Sabac.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All right, so look, as a city councillor, I strongly believe in upholding the principle of democratic decision-making process. By not allowing our citizens to vote on this, it's a significant decision on a piece of land that's dilapidated, right? I mean, we can all agree it needs to be developed. We're setting a worrying precedent. The same way you came to council, voiced your opinion. I saw you grinning when the mayor talked about his 30%. You feel good about it. You come in, you did something democratically. The process is there for you. And the process should be there for other people as well, right? That's the way I feel about it. It's not because you don't want a project that other people, should be, I guess, stopped from moving forward and giving their own opinion. The democratic process and the legal way to do this is here for a reason. This is the second time that this council does this. Second time. And I worry about that. I worry about the process in which we do it. I worry because certain developers might say, you know what, we don't want to come to Côte Saint-Luc anymore, right? We're developing and spending a ton of money on the master plan, listening to people's voices. And so we should continue to listen to people's voices. We should let the process move forward. This is the way I feel about this. I strongly feel about this. And it's not about the irresponsible $20,000 or $40,000 or $30,000. It's not, because God forbid I'd go into granular details about how much money we spend sometimes, right? I don't want to go into that. But the reality is that this is a process that's been built for the people to be able to bring Côte Saint-Luc to a certain level. And that's what we're preventing here today. So I am, and I'm voting in favor of continuing this referendum for all these reasons. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Point of order, Councillor Sabag, that this is the first time, not the second, that this council in its current iteration faces this.
This is the second time that I've been in council that this happens.
That's a
So
different statement.
I'll just say
Thank
that.
you.
Thank you.
Who else? Councillor Cohen.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I've always been one to try to support my fellow city councillors. They really have a best handle on their district. I would expect the same from them in my district. 7 years ago, we had the situation where the Equinox, the developers of the Equinox went ahead to build two 18-story buildings. It was something that nobody wanted. I didn't want it. None of the residents wanted it, but the council of 30+ years ago rezoned the land. At that time, there was no project in place, so they just, I don't know how they did it, but they did it. And we really couldn't do anything. We made as many changes as possible to try to make it a good development. But in this particular case, it's rezoning. And when it's rezoning, it's always tricky. I commend the residents for doing their due diligence and their lobbying. I feel that the developer was kind of invisible during this whole process. They had a good turnout for the consultation, and that was it. But again, Councillor Kajavsky, has contacted me, and he's made his comments to everyone tonight. And I feel that I have a duty as a councillor to support him. And that's why I'm going to vote, basically change my position, and I will vote for us not to have a referendum. I do hope that the residents know that be careful what you wish for, because the zoning is still there. They can still build something. And if they do it within the existing zoning, it may be something you don't like, and they may have to do certain things to make sure that it's profitable. And at that point, you're not going to have any recourse. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Cohen. Councillor Erdely.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Part of our job as city councilors is to find that compromise, find that balance. Our job is to listen to the residents, but also the developer at the same time, and try to find a project that works. I'll give some examples, a personal note in my district. Just recently, we had a project at Côte Saint-Luc Road in Westminster. And, the developer wanted something and the residents didn't. And, my goal is to try to find a compromise and to meet with the residents and get their feedback. When we were putting in place the dog run, the Joe Ray Nature Path and Dog Run, I went to every door in the district in that neighborhood to find out which we were looking at 2 different locations, A or B, what do residents want? And, we ended up choosing the one based on the feedback from residents, and it made sense. For me, like I said, the goal of the council is to get that feedback and find the balance. Now, where we went wrong was we didn't listen to the residents enough. We listened more to the developer. That to me was the fatal flaw. Had we listened to the residents a bit more, had we heard their feedback, we could have gone back to the developer and said, hey, 12 floors is not going to work. Let's find a good project with 6 stories. Let's find a project that we can integrate with the existing zoning. I would say I do agree with Councillor Sabag. We made a mistake. We made a mistake, and it is the second time we did this, where we spoke to a developer and we didn't listen to the feedback of the residents. We didn't communicate well enough, and I hope we don't do it again because it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing when it happens to all of us, including myself, who voted against the project on every level, but it still hurts all our reputations. And my concern, as I mentioned, is we're going into the master plan, and I worry that it's hurt all of our reputations, and I hope it doesn't hurt us on the master plan, which hopefully we'll all agree on. But again, my point is this, if we had found that balance earlier on, if we had heard the feedback from the residents, if we had passed it on to the developer and found a project that could work, we would have saved a lot of time and effort on everyone's part. And I still hope that we're able to find that. And I hope this delay hasn't irreparably hurt that process and hasn't hurt the reputation of the city of Côte Saint-Luc. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ridley. Well, Councillor Azrat.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be brief. I feel that a complete referendum process would have been beneficial for the community on this issue, and I'm generally in favor of cutting, I'm not in favor of cutting these processes short. As a completed referendum process would draw out participation from residents on both sides rather than just the opposed. So for me, that's, I feel like it would have been better to go on throughout the process, but democracy always wins.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Ministry.
Merci, Monsieur le maire. Juste pour mentionner que j'aurais souhaité d'abord que je respecte le processus et vraiment tous les résidents qui ont participé, mais j'aurais quand même souhaité donner l'opportunité au reste des résidents de vraiment de se prononcer sur le projet et de pouvoir aller jusqu'au bout, aller jusqu'au référendum. C'est ce qu'on s'était dit au début dès qu'on a démarré. Je sais qu'à plusieurs reprises, et je pense que ça a été mentionné, on a essayé de guider le mieux qu'on pouvait le promoteur dans ce processus. Et je pense que par respect pour le processus qui est mis en place ou bien qui est disponible par rapport au changement de zonage, au moins on aurait laissé vraiment la population se prononcer là-dessus. Voilà, alors c'est ce que je voulais dire et bon, j'espère que la prochaine fois on fera mieux.
Okay, merci. Anyone else? That's it, I think. I think that's it. Oh, yeah, Councillor Bricker, you're last.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I just feel that it should have never come to this right from the get-go. This project was a non-starter. And I understand the developer's point of view because maybe he had certain expectations for making some profits on this property, for developing it. And I know he paid quite a bit of money, but unfortunately, from the get-go, I didn't see the viability of this project in the location where it's at. The building itself is quite nice, and it's just, from my perspective, it was the wrong location. So I feel at this point, there's no real point in pushing forward and and, belaboring the point because of the very large turnout of residents who came to sign the register. This is fairly clear, and I think Councillor Kujawski has recognized that. So I'll be voting to withdraw the bylaw. Thank you.
Okay, so now everybody spoke. And the motion, the resolution before us is to withdraw the bylaw. So when you're voting, remember what you're voting on, right? Okay, so it's been moved and second, all in favor of withdrawing the bylaw. 1, 2, 3, 4, and all in favor of, all opposed. All opposed, withdrawing the bylaw. 1, 2, 3. So it's 4-3 in favor of withdrawing the bylaw. Okay, now we're going to move to the next item, which is Parks and Recreation, item 10A, Councillor Schuster.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that City Council hereby approves the renewal of the partnership between the city and the center, meaning the Cumming Center, and acknowledges the undertakings for both parties to fulfill the outlined in the renewal agreement, that the renewal agreement attached forms an integral part thereof, that the city's general counsel be and is hereby authorized to sign the aforementioned renewal agreement on the city's behalf.
Moved by Councillor Schuster, second by Councillor Ben-Isri. Any discussion?
Just a brief comment that we've had an ongoing partnership with the Cumming Center that has a satellite location in the ACC as a drop-in, and it's been since August 2016. We are continuing that partnership. It might be in a little bit of a different iteration, but that we are proud to continue working with the Cumming Center.
Thank you, Councillor Berger.
Yeah, so I just want to say this is just another example, we can't be too hard on Côte Saint-Luc and on the council because this council is pretty innovative and creative, and we're always pushing new projects and new ideas. So in 2016, as Sharon Friedman knows only too well, the CLSC wanted to drop the drop-in center, right? And she came to the mayor and council, and the mayor and council said that they would agree to house the drop-in center, René Cassin Seniors Drop-in Center, for caregiver respite. Now, we know that there's a lot of people in our community that are aging, that have dementia, Alzheimer's, et cetera, and that the caregivers, mainly the spouses who are living with these people, are in need of respite, So we provided a space at the ACC, and we made an agreement with the Cumming Center in order to fulfill that continued service. It's been going on since 2016, and we had some ups and downs. We had some grants, and then we didn't have grants, but now we've renewed the relationship, and I think that it's very promising. And it shows that, we can be innovative and creative in Côte Saint-Luc. And unfortunately, the government is downloading more and more services to municipalities. And so when you hear a lot of people say, oh, we need this or that or the other thing, it's very difficult for us, to balance all these needs and wants. But in this case, we were able to partner with the Cumming Center, and I'm very pleased. And I think it's important to recognize that and to thank the mayor and council who keep looking for these new and creative projects. And there will be more coming. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Moved in second, Living Lab. Moved in seconded, all in favor? Carried unanimously. And we move to the next item, which is Public Works. Councillor Ben-Isri.
Merci, Monsieur le Maire. Que le conseil municipal de la ville de Côte Saint-Luc octroie par la présente un contrat à Gargil Sel, sécurité routière pour l'achat de sel de déglaçage régulier pour la saison hivernale 2023-2024 pour un montant maximal estimé de 494 340 $, plus les taxes applicables. plus jusqu'à 20% de plus au même prix unitaire si requis par la ville. Que le conseil municipal de la ville de Côte Saint-Luc octroie également un contrat à Gargilsel Sécurité routière pour l'achat de sels de déglaçage traités pour la saison hivernale 2023-2024 pour un montant maximal estimé à 182 970 $ plus les taxes applicables, plus jusqu'à 20% de plus au même prix unitaire si requis par la ville. Que les certificats du trésorier numéro 23-0117 et 23-0118 ont été émis par le trésorier de la ville le 5 septembre 2023, attestant la disponibilité des fonds pour couvrir les dépenses mentionnées ci-dessus.
Proposé par le conseiller Benizri, appuyé par le conseiller Sebag. Est-ce qu'il y a des discussions? Non?
Non.
Tout le monde en faveur? So it passed unanimously. And now we go to Urban Development, Councillor Erdely, 10A.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that Côte Saint-Luc City Council hereby awards a contract to SEMO Management, Inc. for bringing water service lines to 2 parks for a total amount of $65,740 plus applicable taxes, that the described expenses shall be financed from the city's cumulative surplus small parks projects, and that Treasurer's Certificate number 23-0114 dated August 31st, 2023 has been issued by the city treasurer attesting to the availability funds to cover the described expenses.
Moved by Councillor Erdely, seconded by Councillor Sebag. Any discussion?
So I'll just share. So the project here is to bring water in terms of having a water fountain at Greenspawn Park and also the Isidore Goldberg Park / Sheila Finestone Park. Those will be done this year. And I'll just mention last year we did 5 parks. So this is part of our work in terms of climate change and resiliency, knowing that, of course, it's only getting warmer. We want to make sure there's more and more parks that have water fountains for children, adults, and seniors alike. Thank you.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? No. So carried unanimously. Carry, all in favor? All in favor. Now it's carried unanimously. Figured that was an easy one. And we go to Urban Development number 13A, Councillor Azarad.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Est résolu qu'en conformité avec la loi sur l'aménagement et l'urbanisme, RLRQ chapitre A19.1, le conseil municipal de la ville de Côte Saint-Luc adopte par la présente le premier projet de règlement numéro 2217 NNNP1 intitulé Règlement modifiant le règlement de zonage numéro 2217 afin d'ajuster les normes relatives aux matériaux de revêtement extérieur, aux équipements mécaniques, à l'aménagement paysager, à la couverture végétale et à d'autres dispositions.
That's a notice of motion. First, to give a notice of motion, which does not need a vote.
No, just a notice of motion.
Okay. Now the second one. Now there's the adoption.
Is not, hold on, I'm just going to 16. Sorry.
317.
Yeah, sorry, it's 317. No, it's no, it's not on 317 on mine. Je l'ai pas sur 317, il est vide. J'ai encore fité la loi, I don't have it. Yeah, I'll read it here. That in conformity with the act respecting land use and development A19-1, the Côte Saint-Luc City Council hereby adopts the first draft bylaw 2217 NNNP1 entitled bylaw to amend the zoning bylaw number 2217 of the city of Côte Saint-Luc in order to adjust norms pertaining to exterior siding materials, mechanical equipment, landscaping, ground cover, and other provisions.
Moved by Councillor Azarad, seconded by. What's that? Let me check here. This is, no, it's okay. Councillor Sebag, that's all good too.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
I just have a friendly addition to the resolution.
Yep.
Typically, according to the Act respecting land use planning and development, council would also either declare the date and the time of the public consultation meeting or delegate that to the city clerk within the body of the resolution. So if we can delegate that to the city clerk, she could then publish a public notice with the date and the time, and we can make the decision internally.
The next council meeting?
If you would like, it could be, yes. Mhm. And do you have a specific time?
7:45?
Okay. So in the text of the resolution, you can declare the next night of the council.
So that's October, somebody's taping something. We're always being taped, eh? I heard you're not allowed to do that in NDG. 7:45 on the 16th of October.
Perfect.
Okay. Okay, now we're going to item 13 point. So that's been moved past. Did we do that? We finished it? We did. We just discussed it. Moved and seconded. All in favor? Anyone opposed?
No.
So all in favor? We're all in favor. Good. Okay, so now we're going to go. Now we're going to go to site planning, 13.1, Councillor Azarad.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Okay. Be it resolved that the site planning and architectural integration program showing the installation of a sign in the existing freestanding sign for DAVCON construction on lot 1053808 and prepared for the Planning Advisory Committee meeting on August 8th, 2023 has been approved according to the provisions of Chapter 14 of Bylaw 2217 of the City of Côte Saint-Luc.
Moved by Councillor Azarad, seconded by Councillor Erdely. Any discussion?
So as you can see, we're going to be looking at the different signs that were just approved by PAC and recommended by PAC to be approved. So the first one is DAVCON construction on top.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried unanimously. And now we go to the next one, which is another sign which we're deferring.
Yes, sir.
We're deferring item 13.1.2 to the next meeting. And now we go to 13.1.3, another sign.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that the site planning and architectural integration program showing the installation of a sign in the existing freestanding sign from the ground up physiotherapy on lot 1053808 and prepared for the Planning Advisory Committee meeting on August 8th, 2023 be approved according to the provisions of Chapter 14 of Bylaw 2217 and the City of Côte Saint-Luc.
Moved by Councillor Azarad, seconded by Councillor Erdely. Any discussion on that?
So that's the other sign that we're looking up. Again, same building, same location.
All in favor? Carried unanimously. And now we move to another sign.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that the site planning and architectural integration program showing the installation of a sign in the existing freestanding sign for Olymbec Aloué on lot 1053808 and prepared for the Planning Advisory Committee meeting of August 8th, 2023 be approved according to the provisions of Chapter 14 of Bylaw 2217 of the City of Côte Saint-Luc.
Moved by Councillor Azarad, seconded by Councillor Erdely. Any discussion? It's another sign.
Just another sign, this one for Olymbec.
All in favor? All in favor of the sign? Carried unanimously. And now we move to 5614 Greenwood. Councillor Azarad.
Be it resolved that the site planning and architectural integration program showing facade modifications to a detached single-family dwelling on lot 1054325 at 5614 Greenwood and prepared for the Planning Advisory Committee meeting of August 8, 2023 be approved according to provisions Chapter 14 of Bylaw 2217 of the City of Côte Saint-Luc.
Moved by Councillor Azarad, seconded by Councillor Erdely. Any discussion?
So this just went back to PAC a couple of times in order to just approve the small modifications and changes that were made to the front of the home.
So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Okay, all in favor, carried unanimously. And now we move to 5450 Westminster, 5452.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
See the
Be it
picture.
resolved that the site planning and architectural integration program showing the installation of a sign on the existing commercial building for Montreal Yardy on lot 1292251 and prepared by Cité en Scène Graphique for the Planning Advisory Committee meeting August 8, 2023 be approved according to the provisions of Chapter 14th of Bylaw 2217 of the City of Côte Saint-Luc.
Moved by Councillor Azarad, seconded by Councillor Italy. Any discussion? Go ahead.
So this is another sign for the for Montreal Yardy, which is right, yes, which is one Westminster. I don't know if Stephen had anything to add to that.
So moved and seconded, all in favor?
I was gonna say, well, I was gonna just mention Montreal Bagel was chosen a few months ago to be our merchant of the month. And maybe Montreal Yardy one day will as well.
All in favor? Carried unanimously. And now we move to 13.2.1, 7046 Wavell.
Be it resolved that in accordance with the provisions of bylaw G18-0005, the request for a minor exemption regarding the property located at 7046 Wavell, lot 1054455 be and is hereby approved, the whole as more amply delineated hereunder. The request is to allow the construction of balcony in the rear yard of an existing semi-detached single-family dwelling in a minimum distance of 0 inches from the common landline instead of the minimum required distance of 2 feet from the common landline in the case of a semi-detached dwelling. The whole notwithstanding the provisions of zoning bylaw number 2217 Annex B.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Azarad, seconded by Councillor Italy. Any discussion?
No, this was recommended by PAC for us to move forward on. So some were for, some were against. And
okay. All in favor? Carried unanimously, and we go to the last one. 8037 Côte Saint-Luc Road.
Be it resolved that in accordance to the provisions of bylaw G18-0005, the request for a minor exemption regarding the property located at 8037 Côte Saint-Luc Road, lot 1055012, proposed to lot 6468684, be and hereby approved, the whole as more amply delineated hereunder. The request is to allow the construction of a 6-foot high fence to be located a minimum distance of 12 feet from the secondary front land and within the first 4.57 meters from the front land line instead of the maximum permitted fence height of 3 feet above the sidewalk level when erected on the front land line or within first 4.57 meters of the front land line. The construction of a swimming pool in the secondary front yard instead of in the lateral yard or in the rear yard and located at a minimum distance of 15 feet from the secondary front land line and at a minimum distance of 9 feet from the front land line. The construction of a patio in the secondary front yard instead of at the rear of the main building and located at a minimum distance of 12 feet from the secondary front land line at a minimum distance of 3 feet from the land line. The whole notwithstanding the provisions of zoning bylaw 2217 Annex B.
Moved by Councillor Azarad, seconded by Councillor Italy. Any discussion?
So this one has some because it's a corner lot and everything's built on an angle, that is why these minor exemptions were needed. And I think that PAC worked very nicely with them to make them meet the guidelines as best as possible for us to allow the least amount of minor exemptions.
So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried unanimously. And we now go to Councillor Sabag for the stance at the Aglo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that the council take the following stance in view of any agglomeration council meetings to be held in October 2023 as follows: to authorize the mayor or his duly authorized replacement to make any decisions he deems necessary and in the best interest of the city of Côte Saint-Luc and its residents regarding the items on the agenda of the agglomeration council meetings to be held in October 2023, based on the information to be presented during those meetings.
So it's been moved by Councillor Sabag, seconded by Councillor Berku. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. And now, is there any other business? Do we have any questions that are based on today's agenda? So then I ask for a mover to adjourn. Councillor Schuster, seconded by Councillor. Oh, we have a question. Go ahead. Come up to the mic for your question, please. Yes.
Sorry, but it's not on the list of the topics.
We can only ask questions now that are on, that relate to the items that were on the agenda.
But if you give me 1 minute, I have one question, but if not, I won't ask.
Well, you could speak to us after, but the questions are only about from the agenda, but I'll stay back to talk to you. Okay, so motion for adjournment.
So be moved.
Seconded by Councillor. Okay, Azarad, all in favor, we are adjourned, but I'll be happy to speak with you. Sure.